On April 20, 2023, SpaceX faced a catastrophic failure during a routine launch. The images of the rocket exploding mid-air and debris raining down over the Gulf of Mexico were unforgettable. But what went wrong? Why did their launch turn out to be a big failure? In this video, we'll examine the events leading up to the launch, analyze the technical details of the failure, and explore the potential implications for the future of space travel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos. Just a few days ago, the Elon Musk-led company made history with the debut launch of Starship, the biggest rocket ever built. While it didn't reach space, it did make a deeper impact than most rockets out there. But as the countdown hit 0 and the launch began, things took an unexpected turn. As everybody watched from the sidelines, eagerly anticipating the success of this incredible feat, something went wrong. The rocket eventually broke apart, leaving us all wondering what went wrong. But the folks at SpaceX had their work cut out for them, collecting a ton of telemetry and data to analyze for next time. The first thing they're going to need to address is stage 0, the crucial component that holds the rocket vertically, fuels it, and ultimately catches it. Unfortunately, it seems that the concrete underneath the engines couldn't withstand the force, causing issues during the launch. While other launch systems have flame diverters or water suppression systems in place to protect the infrastructure, SpaceX had been hoping to avoid these solutions for their rocket that could one day land on Mars. But as it turns out, it was a mistake they couldn't avoid. You should know about an incredible picture that La Padre took and how it tells an amazing story. The image captured from an aircraft shows a sizable crater, revealing the stripped concrete on one side with the rebar left behind, indicating water intrusion. And this is a huge concern in Boca Chica due to the water table being so close to the surface. It's a catch-22 situation because if they decide to build up, they would need to work with the Army Corps of Engineers. Plus, they've already erected a massive tower. But here's the kicker. Where did all the missing dirt and concrete go? Well, a significant portion of it was blasted into the air during the launch, resulting in a cloud of dust, sand, and pulverized concrete that flew over South Padre Island. It caused a lot of inconveniences, including damage to ground equipment, and some of the debris must have hit the rocket, causing it to miss engines and making the countdown clock incorrect. Initially, many spectators thought the rocket was going to fall over, but it was a pad avoidance maneuver, a smart move when dealing with such a massive amount of propellant. The most exciting part of this launch is the telemetry in the bottom left corner of the screen. They have a nifty display that shows which engines are firing. And the two engines in the outer ring of fixed booster engines that failed were right next to each other. It's highly likely that they both failed due to a common cause, like a big chunk of concrete smacking them both. But wait, there's more. As the launch progresses, we start to see more engine failures, and some of them are pretty noticeable with bright flashes. And here's where it gets really interesting. There's a part of the rocket, the fairing, that covers important bits like the hydraulic power unit, and it looks like a piece of it may have broken off and caused some trouble. Now, some people are saying the rocket looks a bit bent, but that's just the camera's rolling shutter effect. Don't worry, the vehicle is just fine and dandy. Now, let's talk about those engine flames. They were noticeably bright. This suggests that there's a lot of engine-rich exhaust happening, which could mean that multiple engines are failing and slowly shutting down. With a whopping 33 engines, you might think that Starship could handle losing a couple of them. But when you consider that each engine only accounts for about 9% of the performance, it's not a small issue, especially since the rocket has no payload. You see, it's not as simple as just looking at the force of gravity. What really matters is the excess acceleration. And when you factor that in, each engine only accounts for about 9% of the performance, And the important point here is that lack of thrust can really throw things off course. The vehicle hits max Q later than expected, and as it starts to generate a vapor trail, it's actually angling slightly against the airflow. It's almost like the rocket is trying to lift itself up and get back on track. But things take a turn for the worse when the vehicle starts to pitch around uncontrollably. Maybe they lost hydraulic pressure, or maybe it went too far outside of its angle of attack envelope. Either way, it's a total loss of control. The angle of attack display flips a full 180 degrees as the vehicle spins around, completely out of control. But at least the rocket's structure is holding up, and it's still cruising upward toward its apex, even if it's way below their planned separation altitude. It'll hit its peak speed at a whopping 2150 kilometers per hour and reach an apogee of 39 kilometers per hour. But let's just say things didn't go exactly according to plan. The presenters may have talked about stage separation, but it doesn't seem like it was ever actually commanded. You see, the main stage engines needed to be shut down first to prevent them from pushing the spacecraft together, and that didn't happen. So instead, the vehicle starts to plummet back to Earth, accelerating as it goes. The atmosphere gets denser and denser, and before we know it, we've hit the second max event, and that's when things really start to go haywire. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, confirms that the flight termination system was activated, but the vehicle was already failing before that point. There's even a leaked image of a bent structure on the Starship fin, which makes total sense. Given the physics of the situation, most of the fuel is concentrated in the Starship, and the rest of the tanks are empty. That means the mass is concentrated in one spot, causing the vehicle to bend around that point. It's a recipe for disaster, and sure enough, the booster tanks fail and the flight termination system is activated. Debris rains down over the Gulf of Mexico, and it's clear that Stage 0 is going to be the main focus of attention for SpaceX moving forward. The camera views may not be crystal clear, but there's no doubt that something went seriously wrong. And you can bet your bottom dollar that SpaceX is going to be combing through every bit of data. They have to figure out what went awry and how to fix it. Even though the rocket suffered a catastrophic failure, we can still learn a lot from the data and images that were captured during its flight. One of the most intriguing pieces of information came from the lightning detector on the GOES East Weather satellite, which picked up a flash of the explosion. We can also see the plume and debris cloud generated by the incident on a weather radar, giving us clues as to where the debris might end up. But be warned, the water in that area is incredibly deep, so only experienced technical divers should even consider trying to retrieve any pieces of hardware that may have landed there. While SpaceX has boosters and starships lined up for future tests, it's evident that Stage 0 is going to require some significant civil engineering work to fix the issues that caused the failure. And let's not forget that just because a piece of hardware is sitting on the ocean floor doesn't mean it's not subject to ETAR or international traffic and arms regulations, so handling any debris will be no easy task. So, to all those at SpaceX who worked on this project, we hope they are ready for some serious work ahead. While we don't know when the next launch will be, we do know that there's plenty of data to analyze and improvements to be made before we see Starship take flight again. I hope you found the analysis informative and engaging. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think went wrong with the launch? Do you have any questions or comments about the analysis presented in the video? Let's continue the conversation in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates on space exploration and technology. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.